He stood tall in the center of the battlefield, calm and proud while the air around him was filled with fire and smoke. Drak Vern, the warlord of the Threx Dominion, was covered in alien armor, glowing red with the blood of his enemies. Hundreds of soldiers had died that day, and none had laid a scratch on him. His voice echoed across the broken land as he raised a bloodied claw into the sky. "The human's friend begged before I snapped his neck," he shouted, laughing like a monster from an old nightmare. The galaxy watched the broadcast in silence. Billions saw the moment live, the final seconds of a human soldier named Elias Quinn. He had been brave, loyal, and one of the few who stood against Drak without fear. But Drak crushed him like a toy. And when the camera zoomed in, Drak sneered. Humans are weak. This one was the last to believe in hope. Far away, deep inside a small human ship floating near the asteroid fields, a man sat alone. His name was Cole Maddox. A scar ran across his cheek and his eyes were cold like space. He watched the video again, for the 10th time. Every second made his hands shake, not with fear but with something darker. Elias had been his friend. No, more than that. A brother in war. They had fought together, laughed together, and bled together. Cole didn't scream. He didn't cry. He only stared. When the video ended, he leaned forward and whispered, "You're not untouchable. Not to me." Cole stood up slowly and opened a small black case hidden beneath the ship's floor. Inside were weapons long banned by the Galactic Code, gadgets that should not exist, and a data chip marked with one word, vengeance. He inserted the chip into the ship's console. The screen blinked and loaded a map. Drak's known movements, his supply lines, his fortress locations. Drak had ruled with fear for over 10 years. He had destroyed planets, crushed rebellions, and bought off entire governments. His enemies disappeared. His name was spoken in whispers. But Cole wasn't afraid. He had seen true horror before, and it wore a different face. To him, Drak was just another mission, a target, one that had made a very personal mistake. Back on the war-torn planet, Drak stood in front of his troops. He loved crowds, loved the fear in their eyes. He raised Elias's broken dog tags in the air and shouted, "Let this be a message to all humans. You cannot touch me. You will all fall like him." The soldiers cheered. Reporters filmed. But someone was already moving through the shadows, watching, listening, planning. Cole had no army, no backup, no orders. He didn't need them. All he needed was a reason, and now he had the best one of all. He made his first stop on the mining moon of Talon 4, a place filled with smugglers and criminals. There, he found someone who had worked for Drak, a drunk technician who had escaped punishment after a failed shipment. Cole bought him 3 drinks and offered him a deal. The man laughed. "You think you can go after Drak alone?" he asked. Cole smiled softly. "I won't need to go after him. I'll make him come to me." The technician gave him everything. Access codes, routes, weak spots. Cole paid him well. But before leaving, he gave the man one last warning. "Don't tell anyone I was here. If you do, you'll wish Drak found you instead." By the end of the week, Cole had vanished into the stars. No one knew where he went. But strange things started happening across Drak's empire. A fuel depot exploded on Grenth Station. One of Drak's supply ships disappeared in clear space. A corrupt official was found tied up outside a trade post with a human message carved into the wall. "This is for Elias." Drak didn't worry at first. He had seen rebels before. They all died. But something about these attacks felt different, smarter, focused, personal. Still, he laughed when his advisors mentioned the name Cole Maddox. One human? Against me? He'll die screaming. But in the silence of his private chambers, Drak watched the same video Cole had watched. The one where he killed Elias, and for a brief second he saw something he had missed before. A camera drone floating just above the hill, recording everything. Not his camera. Someone else's. Someone had been watching. Cole wasn't just hunting him. He had already started, and this time Drak wasn't laughing. Not anymore. Cole Maddox moved like a shadow through the stars, leaving no trace behind. After Talon 4, he traveled to dead zones, old war wrecks, and pirate hubs, places most avoided. But Cole wasn't looking for comfort. He was searching for pieces of a puzzle: weapons, information, tech upgrades, and names, especially names. People who had helped Drac rise. People who had smiled while Elias Quinn was murdered. He didn't need to be told twice. The memory of Elias laughing, handing him that last ration bar during a snowstorm, was enough. "Save it," Elias had said. "You always forget to eat when you're pissed." That memory haunted him now. Elias had always been the better man. Kinder, smarter, a soldier who believed peace could be earned, and that belief got him killed. Now, Cole believed in something else. Justice. On a drifting outpost near the edge of the Harkin Belt, Cole met a woman named Sky Tenor. She used to work for the Dominion's Intel division, but left after Drac ordered a whole village erased for hiding, one wounded rebel. Cole found her in a broken-down bar, fixing a ship's nav core with a piece of metal and her bare hands. "You looking for someone to fix a ship or ruin a tyrant's life?" she asked without looking up. Cole sat down. "Both," she smirked. "Then you found the right person." Sky joined him without asking for payment. All she wanted was to see Drac fall. Cole told her nothing about what he planned, but she saw it in his eyes. He wasn't just on a mission. He was on a path that would either end with Drac's death or his own. Word of Cole's attack spread quietly, not loud enough to hit the headlines, but whispered in back rooms and dark halls. The Ghost, they called him, the human who won't stop. Some thought it was a group. Others believed it was a myth. Drac's advisors dismissed it as rebel fiction. But the fear was growing. Cole's next target was bigger, a weapons shipment moving through a secure Dominion route. With Sky's help, he hacked the route codes, changed the docking orders, and planted a virus inside the shipment's core. When the shipment reached Drac's base on Gora 12, it exploded. 17 officers died. No survivors. The only thing left behind was a small tag burned into the ground. For Elias. Drac crushed the tag under his boot. "I want him found," he growled. "Now." But Cole was already gone. He didn't stop. He couldn't. Every attack brought him closer. Every target brought new leads. Sky asked him once why he didn't take a break. "Because he didn't get a break," Cole replied quietly. "He didn't even get a grave." One night, while orbiting the ice planet Zareth, Cole looked out at the stars. His hand rested on Elias's old dog tags, the metal cool against his palm. "I'm going to make him feel it," he said. "The loss, the fear, the silence." On that same night, Drac received a message through a secure Dominion channel. It had no sender name, just a video. It was a clip of Elias helping children escape during a raid, smiling, bleeding, still standing. Then it cut to black, and a single sentence appeared. "You mocked the wrong man's friend." Drac smashed the console, sparks flying. "Find him." But it was already too late. The galaxy had watched Elias die. Now they were watching something new rise. Cole Maddox wasn't just coming for Drac. He was building the storm that would bring him down. Drac Vern stood high above the city of Volcaris, watching the smoke rise from a massive tower in the distance. Moments ago, it had been one of his command centers, filled with top officers, war planners, and loyal Dominion staff. Now it was nothing but flames and rubble. Alarms echoed through the sky, ships scrambled in panic, and emergency teams rushed in with no idea what had hit them. Then, through the city's comm network, a voice played. Calm, human, familiar. That was for his smile, "You bastards." Drac's fist tightened. It was him, the human, Cole Maddox. For the first time in years, someone had struck him directly, and lived. Cole had planned this one carefully. He and Sky had intercepted a Dominion transport weeks ago, one that carried access cards and security codes. From there, they mapped the tower's weak points. They waited for the right time when the high officers would all be inside for a war meeting. Then Cole slipped in, planted the charges, and vanished. It wasn't just destruction. It was a message. He could reach Drak, and Drak hated that. In the days that followed, the Dominion tried to silence the story. But people talked. They whispered about the ghost again, the lone human taking down the Untouchable. Videos of the explosion leaked. So did the audio. Cole's voice, clear, cold, and furious, spread across comm channels like wildfire in the shadows of ruined colonies. People started hoping again. Skye watched the reactions across the net and turned to Cole. "You're starting something bigger than revenge," she said. "I didn't ask for bigger," Cole replied. "I asked for justice." Still, deep down, he knew she was right. Every step he took now shook Drak's empire a little more. Cole's next target was the Black Vault on Archon Prime, a hidden data center where Dominion war crimes were stored and buried. Getting inside was suicide. So Cole didn't go in alone. He called in an old favor from a hacker named Jex, a thin, nervous man with half a metal face and the voice of a fast-talking con artist. "You're lucky I hate the Dominion more than I like breathing," Jex said as he cracked into the vault systems from a mobile station on a junk planet. Inside, they found horrors. Civilian wipeouts, secret prisons, Elias's final mission logs, cut off mid-transmission, his voice broken and weak. Cole listened in silence, face stone cold. Then he sent everything out. To every channel, every news net, every rebellion cell. No more secrets. Drak watched the leak in silence. Around him, his inner circle began to panic. Ministers resigned, officials went silent. The galaxy was watching now, not just one human's revenge, but the truth behind the untouchable warlord. Still, Drak refused to show fear. "Let him run," he told his generals. "Let him hide. Sooner or later, he'll come for me, and when he does, I will crush him." But Cole wasn't running. He was advancing, slow, silent, unstoppable. In another part of the galaxy, a Dominion destroyer called Ravager's Fist left dock for a patrol mission. It never made it. Cole had slipped a device into its engine bay days earlier, a virus that rewired the ship's jump drive. Instead of warping safely, the ship tore itself apart in a gravity well. No survivors, only debris. A single message was broadcast from the wreck's beacon. "Still think he's untouchable?" Cole and Skye watched from a distance, hidden in the cold black of space. "You're scaring them," Skye said. "I'm just getting started," Cole answered. Drak, for all his power, had never dealt with someone like Cole, not a rebel, not a general, a soldier with nothing left to lose and a very specific goal: make Drak pay, slowly, publicly, permanently. And across the stars, more eyes began turning toward the human. A few brave souls even began to ask the question out loud. If one man can do this to Drak, what happens when more join him? The fall had begun, and Drak didn't even know how fast he was slipping. Drak Vern's fortress on Drelax 9 had walls thick enough to survive orbital bombardment and guards trained, from birth to kill without question. It was said no intruder had ever made it past the first gate. That legend ended the night the alarm screamed and a single word echoed through the barracks: Cole. By the time the Dominion soldiers rushed to the vault, it was already too late. The power grid had collapsed. The internal defenses were fried. Someone had walked through their most secure base and left a surprise behind. An entire floor of weapons meant for planetary invasions had been rigged to explode. But Cole didn't detonate them. No. He left them untouched. With a note stuck to one of the warheads. "I could have. Next time I will." Drak didn't rage, he didn't shout. This time he was quiet. Too quiet. "He's baiting me," Drak muttered to his top advisor. "He wants me to chase him." "But you won't?" the advisor asked. Drak turned, his eyes burning. I will. But on my terms. What Drac didn't realize was that Cole had already written the terms. In the days after the Drelax 9 breach, something strange began happening. Dominion officers disappeared, not in battles, not in war zones. They vanished from their homes, their ships, their secure bunkers. Each time a single symbol was left behind, 2 crossed dog tags etched in steel. Skye tracked the patterns with growing concern. "You're going after them one by one," she said. "The ones who killed Elias." Cole didn't deny it. He remembered them all. Commander Wrath, who had ordered the orbital strike on the refugee camp. Gone. Captain Illan, who laughed while Elias was tortured. Gone. General Suvek, who filmed the execution and sent it to human forces as a threat. Gone. Each. One vanished without a scream, without a sound. Cole left no bodies, just silence and steel. The message was clear. This is what you made me. Across the galaxy, fear twisted into something new. Admiration. Rebellion cells started painting Cole's symbol on walls. Some even mimicked his tactics. Small, precise attacks on Dominion targets, hitting where it hurt the most. The myth of the ghost grew stronger. Now Cole wasn't just a lone soldier, he was becoming a movement, but even a legend has limits. On a dark world near the edge of Dominion space, Cole made a mistake. He went alone. He had tracked a Dominion high-value target to a bunker buried in black rock. Skye had warned him. It smelled like bait. But Cole was too deep in the mission, too focused. He broke in like a ghost. Silent. Clean. Efficient. Until the doors sealed behind him. It was a trap. Lights snapped on. Dozens of Dominion guards surrounded him. Energy weapons buzzed. And above, them watching from a high glass tower, stood Drac. "You finally came to me," Drac growled over the speakers. "You should have stayed in the shadows, human." Cole didn't flinch. He raised his hand slowly, then dropped something small onto the floor. A remote detonator. The ceiling shook. Dust rained down. Skye's voice crackled through a comm unit, hidden in his jacket. Boom in 3, 2, 1. Half the bunker erupted as hidden charges tore through the walls. Skye, orbiting above in their ship, had hacked the base's system just in time. The explosion opened a path and Cole charged through the chaos, moving like lightning. He didn't reach Drac. Not yet. But he looked up at the glass tower as it cracked and burned. And for the first time, Drac saw him, face to face. Not a ghost. Man of fury. Cole escaped barely. Burned. Bleeding. But alive. Drac stared at the wreck of his trap and whispered. He looked at me like I was already dead. He was right to fear that. Because now Cole knew something Drac didn't. He could bleed and Cole would make sure the galaxy saw every drop. Part 5 ChatGPT said. Cole didn't sleep much after the Drelax 9 trap. His side was torn, his arm scorched, but none of it slowed him down. Pain was just background noise now. All that mattered was the look on Drac's face, that flicker of fear, behind the glass. The untouchable warlord had finally seen him. Not as a myth, not as a ghost, but as a reckoning. And reckoning doesn't stop. Back aboard their stolen freighter, Skye stitched up Cole's wounds while Jex hovered nearby, chewing, on wires and muttering code. "You know," Jex said, "normal people take victory laps after surviving death traps." Cole didn't answer. He just stared at a glowing data pad, a list of names scrolling slowly, each one connected to Elias's death. "You're bleeding." "On my floor," Skye said, tightening the bandage. "Let it bleed," Cole muttered. "I want him to feel every drop." While the Dominion spun lies on the networks, saying the explosion on Drelax 9 was an accident, the truth moved faster. Civilians posted footage of the attack. Resistance networks confirmed it. Cole Maddox had faced Drac and lived. And the galaxy was listening now. On colonies once ruled by fear, Cole's name was spoken like a spark. In underground tunnels and smuggler ports, rebels painted his symbol, 2 crossed dog tags on walls, ships, even weapons. But Cole wasn't interested in fame. He had one goal left before the final strike: the broadcast station on Varnak. Years ago, Elias had used that station to send aid messages to dying colonies, until the Dominion hijacked it and used it to broadcast his execution. That memory still burned in Cole's mind. Elias, beaten, bloodied, and still defiant, telling the galaxy, "We deserved better." Now Cole was going to take that station back, not to ask for mercy, to remind the stars what vengeance looked like. They arrived at Varnak under a stolen transponder code. Jex jammed the outer scans while Sky masked their signal trail. As Cole stepped into the loading bay, dressed in black armor and silence, he felt it. This was the place. This was where Elias's voice had been silenced. Tonight he'd speak again. The Dominion had turned Varnak into a propaganda hub, guarded by mercenaries and filled with false news feeds. But they weren't prepared for what Cole had become. He moved like a storm. Silent, precise, merciless. One by one, the guards dropped. No alarms, no warning, just shadows and steel. Sky hacked the control room, cut the main feed, and pointed the cameras to one spot, an old broadcast podium covered in dust. Cole stepped up to it and spoke. "This is Cole Maddox. You killed Elias Quinn right here. You thought it would break us." He held up Elias's dog tags, the camera focusing on the worn metal. "But you just started something you can't stop." Across thousands of worlds, his face lit up on screens. Soldiers paused. Civilians watched in silence. Even Dominion commanders stared, unsure if it was real. "I'm not hiding anymore," Cole said. "I'm not a ghost. I'm the mirror you don't want to look into. You burned my friend alive, now I'm going to burn your empire down, piece by piece." The message ended with the sound of a heartbeat, and the screen fading to black. No music, no logo, just silence, and then chaos. All across Dominion space, uprisings sparked. Resistance leaders used Cole's message to rally support. Some Dominion soldiers even defected, saying they'd rather follow a man with scars than a king with none. Drax's rage was unmatched. He ordered mass arrests, public executions, and blackouts across multiple systems. But it was like trying to hold fire with bare hands. The more he clutched, the more the flames spread. Sky watched the news feeds from their ship. "You started a war," she whispered. Cole nodded slowly. "No, Drax started it. I just gave it a face." For the first time since Elias died, Cole allowed himself to feel something other than rage. He felt momentum. The next step would be the hardest. They were going for the heart of the Dominion, and Cole would be bringing the galaxy with him. The skies above Dominion Prime were locked in a no-fly zone. Black hole cannons lined the upper orbit. Swarms of drones patrolled every inch. No one got in without Drax's permission. Until now. Cole Maddox stood in the ship's hold, staring out at the blackness of space. Around him, a team of rebels from half a dozen species checked weapons and reloaded gear. They weren't soldiers. Not all of them. But they were ready. Not because they believed in victory, because they believed in Cole. Sky sat at the pilot seat, fingers dancing across controls. "You're seriously doing this?" "We've hit everything around him," Cole said. "Now we go through him." Jex leaned in from the back, his voice shaky. "You do realize no one's ever breached Dominion Prime and lived, right? It's suicide." Cole didn't flinch. "It's not suicide if it ends the war." They jumped. The ship tore through space, threading between death mines and energy walls. Alarms flared, defense systems woke up. But Sky was faster. Jex's viruses fried entire networks in seconds. Their ship, a patched-up rust bucket just hours before, now flew like a ghost, slipping through cracks no one had ever found. Until they reached the surface, the capital burned with light, massive towers of polished steel and glowing red banners with Drax's mark. The throne fortress stood like a mountain at the center, wrapped in shields and guarded by elite warriors. Cole had no plan to sneak in this time. He landed the ship in the main plaza and walked out the front. The cameras saw him, The public channels lit up. Every screen in Dominion space switched, cutting off broadcasts, games, and propaganda. Across cities, people stared. The ghost had come to Drax's doorstep. Cole walked forward, boots echoing on polished stone. Behind him, Sky and a small group of freedom fighters fanned out. Civilians moved aside. Some ran. Some watched. No one dared stop them. Then the palace gates opened, and Drax stepped out, clad in obsidian armor, taller than any human, eyes burning like suns. Around him, his royal guard fanned into formation. Blasters charged, blades hummed. "Brave," Drax said, "but foolish." "No," Cole said, focused. Then the fight exploded. Gunfire, screams, energy blades slicing the air. Cole didn't fight like a soldier anymore. He fought like a storm. Every move was a memory, every strike a message. He took hits, bled, but never stopped. Around him, rebels pushed forward, pushing deeper into the palace while the city roared in chaos. Sky ducked behind a wall covering Cole's flank. "He's heading for the throne chamber," she shouted into the comms. Jex, back on the ship, screamed into his mic. "I've disabled most of their comms, but I can't hold it forever." Cole didn't answer. He had eyes only for Drax now. The untouchable warlord met him on the palace steps. "You could have lived, you know," Drax said. "You could have run forever, been a myth. Why throw it away now?" Cole stepped closer, voice low and sharp. "Because the galaxy doesn't need myths. It needs monsters to bleed." Then they clashed. Drax swung with brutal strength, his fists like hammers. Cole dodged, countered, hit fast and hard. The fight was uneven. Drax was stronger, faster, but Cole was relentless, and rage made him sharp. They fought through the great hall, through fire and shattered glass. Statues of old Dominion emperors fell. The walls cracked. The ground shook. Then Drax landed a blow that sent Cole flying. He slammed into a pillar, gasping. Bones, screaming. Blood filled his mouth. Drax stalked toward him, weapon raised, and Cole laughed. "You think this ends with me?" he rasped. "Look outside." Drax paused. Outside the palace, the people had risen. Rebellion banners flew. Weapons were raised. Drax's empire, built on fear, was crumbling, because one man refused to be silent. Cole stood, bruised, broken, unyielding. "You killed Elias," he said. "Now everyone knows what you are." Drax roared and charged, and Cole met him, head on. The clash cracked the chamber, light and fire, bone and steel. The fight wasn't over, but for the first time, Drax knew he could lose. Smoke filled the throne chamber. Fire licked the edges of broken pillars. Walls once lined with banners now burned and crumbled, their edges soaked in dust and blood. Cole Maddox stood barely upright, his breathing ragged, one eye swollen shut. His armor hung in pieces. His left arm dangled uselessly at his side, but he didn't fall. Across from him, Drax Vorn, the untouchable warlord, bled from a deep gash across his chest. One of his horns was snapped. His movements were slower, now his strength fading. They circled each other like dying animals. "I should have killed you the first time," Drax growled, spitting blood. "You tried," Cole said, steady, "and now the galaxy is watching you bleed." Because it was. Across thousands of worlds, people saw it all. Sky had connected the palace's surveillance feed to the old Varnak broadcast lines. The fight streamed live, unedited. Dominion soldiers had tried to stop the signal, but the people fought back. No one turned away. They watched a human, alone, outnumbered, half dead, stand toe-to-toe with a monster who ruled empires, and they prayed he wouldn't fall. Drax charged again, a roar, ripping from his throat. He swung wide, aiming to crush. Cole ducked under it, drove his knife into the warlord's side, twisting it. Drax howled and slammed Cole into the wall. The stone cracked, but Cole didn't scream. He looked the warlord dead in the eyes and whispered, "This is for Elias." With the last of his strength, Cole pulled something from his belt, a small device blinking red. Drax's eyes widened. "You wouldn't." It's not for me, Cole said. It's for everyone watching. Sky's voice crackled through the chamber speakers. Cole, we have the palace surrounded. Resistance ships are dropping in all over Dominion Prime. You don't need to die here. Cole looked up at the shattered dome above. Drones buzzed. Dropships fell like thunder. People were rising. He smiled weakly. I already won. Then he dropped the device. But it wasn't a bomb. It was a signal jammer. Drock froze, confused. The sound of battle outside changed. Dominion comms went silent. The Royal Guard couldn't receive orders. Automated defense systems shut down. The palace defenses collapsed. Cole lunged. One final hit. His fist cracked across Drock's jaw, then another. Then he grabbed the warlord's collar and dragged him down, forcing him to his knees. Look at them, Cole hissed, turning Drock's face toward the burning skyline and the rebel banners rising. This is what your fear created. And with one last breath, Cole said, now they're not afraid anymore. Then everything went dark. When Cole woke up, he was in a medical chamber. Wires, bandages, beeping machines. Sky sat beside him, eyes red, smiling through tears. You did it, she whispered. He's gone. The Dominion's falling apart. The people are free. He blinked, his throat dry. Drock? Alive. Barely. The galaxy wants him in chains, not dead, and they want you alive. Cole tried to sit up, groaned, and fell back. Sky leaned closer. You became the face of the rebellion, she said. You tore down an empire with nothing but scars and rage. He didn't answer. He just looked at Elias's dog tags hanging from her hand, still scratched, still shining. Later that week, across every screen in the galaxy, a single message played Cole Maddox. Alive. The Untouchable had been touched, beaten, brought to his knees, and a human did it. The myth was over. The war was ending. And Cole had given them something greater than victory, hope.